Welcome to Grassroots Action by American Majority. Attending a protest or rally is no longer enough. We need to act, but our actions must be purposeful and effective. I'm going to discuss grassroots activism in the context of a political movement. A true grassroots movement is a natural and spontaneous group that forms at the local level, building from volunteers a base that is going to support a cause or a movement. But as we get our sleeves rolled up, we need to ask ourselves a few questions regarding our purpose. After all, most activists get involved to advance conservative policies, but we need to ask ourselves a few questions. Does the policy expand individual freedom or government? Does it fortify or attack the family? Does it strengthen or weaken the free market? And what can I do to reduce the size and scope of government? You may be thinking to yourself, how am I, one lonely soul, going to solve all the problems by myself? Well, rest assured, you're not going to do it by yourself. Most effective activists are successful because they build effective coalitions. Well, what is a coalition? A coalition is a group of individuals or organizations that come together in cooperation, each of their own self-interest joining forces for a common cause or goal. They often share common interests, common values, and common solutions. There are 5 key things to have successful coalitions. You need to identify a need or an issue. You got to create a bold vision for a solution. You want to grow your group by bringing in new people and fresh ideas. You want to plan strategically, and you want to establish clear targets, timetables, and objectives. Every coalition is organized around some fundamental issues. What could a successful coalition be built around? It could be built around fiscal policy, social issues facing our society. A hot button issue today is Second Amendment policies, or how about national defense, libertarian policies, all of which I've described center around or encapsulate limited government. But I also encourage you to look closer to your own communities, in your own backyards. Do you have overreaching city councils that have taxpayer-funded pet projects in your community? You know, the swimming pools or golf courses that nobody wants that your taxes are going to pay for. You know, lots of silly regulations or environmental restrictions. Think global, but act local in your own communities. You know, you need to get out in your community. You can't be successful by sitting in your home. You got to get out, be visible, enhance your recognition, attend other like-minded meetings or groups or events. Go to community events, whether they be gun shows, county fairs, parades, picnics, you name it. Get out there. You want to bring along meeting invites to let people know when your meetings are. Sign people up, get their email address, get their phone numbers, have a good attitude, put a smile on your face. You want to be accessible. Meet in public places. Let others in the community know that you exist, whether it be a coffee shop, a meeting room, a library, a restaurant. Welcome new attendees with open arms and make it easy for people to participate and allow people to be able to contact the leadership of the new coalition. You want to build relationships. You want to increase the clout and the reputation of your group. You want to invite other leading leaders to your meetings. Let people know how to reach you. And you want to network people together. Hints on networking. You always want to keep good records and follow up with anybody. If anybody wants to volunteer or be active in your coalition, give them something to do and be gracious and appreciative. Build relationships. You want to market yourself. How are we going to market your coalition? Well, here are some inexpensive methods. We can get on blogs, Twitter, Facebook, or wikis. We can write letters to the editor. We can contact elected officials. We can have visible meetings and petition and ballot initiatives. These are easy, effective, and inexpensive. There are some also effective, costly methods such as buying billboards, putting in public service announcements and radio spots, buying ads in local publications, whether it be weekly newspapers or magazines, buying a booth or a table at a gun show, flea market, county fairs. You can and should be using your database to raise funds, and you should also be raising money from your current membership. We want to set goals. Your coalition, you need to have a mission statement and you need to have a goal. This is essential to success. You want to have strategic targets to help the group focus. And remember, small steps go a long ways. So what is this here path in the there? Well, let me tell you. We conservatives have an easy time describing where we are currently at, meaning our unhappiness with government. We know that we have bloated budget deficits, runaway government spending, nationalized healthcare, the list goes on and on. We also know where we want to go. We realize that we need to have balanced budgets, low taxes and regulations, less spending, more jobs, and more economic opportunities. But what we struggle with is the path. We struggle with how to deliver our message to the masses. Think of it this way. The left is out giving free candy to voters, and we on the right are trying to sell vegetables to the voters. It doesn't work that way. We're not winning elections. We have got to think of the pathway for people we are trying to lead and bring into our coalition. All good generals, they know that no campaign plan survives first contact with the enemy. What do I mean by that? We constantly need to adjust, learn, and adapt our plans on the day-to-day basis, what's ever coming our way. Some pitfalls to watch out for. Make sure that you have a focus, because if there's no focus, no target, or even better yet, we've probably all attended a meeting where we've had the best discussion for an hour or two. However, at the end of the meeting, there were no action items. So it was all discussion and no plan, meaning we had no resolution or no solution. So watch out for those pitfalls for ineffective coalitions. The reason that we're all involved in these coalitions is because we're not happy with our current leadership. Therefore, meaning we want to hold our current elected officials accountable. Think of it this way. If you can't make lawmakers see the light, make them feel the heat. Let them know you're watching. I have a little theory that Pavlov's dog and most politicians have a lot in common. If they know you're paying attention to them or watching them, their unconditioned response will be, uh-oh, people are watching me, so I better behave. But before we get there, do you know who represents you? Sure, we probably know who your U.S. Senator is or your governor is, but I challenge you this. Do you know who sits on your city council? Who is your county commissioner? Who sits on your school board? Well, go out and learn who those people are and start communicating with them. But how are you going to communicate, you ask? Well, the most effective and simplest ways to communicate with elected officials are by writing letters to the editor or letters directly to their offices or calling to their offices or calling into talk radio. Face-to-face discussions are also very effective. Maybe you can pay them a visit during their office hours. Maybe you can attend a school board or city council meeting, or maybe your member of Congress is going to have a town hall meeting. Attend those sessions in those meetings and voice your concerns. On top of holding our current elected officials accountable, we know that if we're going to be successful in the long term, we've got to get new leadership identified and elected to office. So in order to get new leaders elected, we've got to be smart and we've got to build the base smart. So we've got to register new voters and bring them into our camp. So start a voter registration drive, whether it's at your church or county fair. Just make sure you're looking into the laws in your local state on how to register voters. Because at the end of the day, we want to register voters. We want to educate them on why they should be with us in our coalition or supporting the candidates that we're supporting. And we want to turn them out to vote because we want to win elections. And speaking of winning elections, let's think about the 17.6% rule. 70% of people are registered. 30% are not registered. Of the 70% registered, about 50% vote. So that's 35% of the population voting. So think of it this way. It only takes 17.6% of the population, or 25% of registered voters, to win an election. And why are we all here? Well, at the end of the day, this is all about advancing conservatism at all levels of government. But to do that, we need to hold our current elected officials accountable. But on top of that, we've got to find new candidates, new leaders, and get them elected so they will implement conservative policies at all levels of government. Thank you for your time today and learning about Grassroots Action.